Friday morning. It's 6 o'clock. Welcome to Montana This Morning. I'm Victoria Hill and so very happy you're starting your day with us. And I'm just excited to talk about the weather with our very own morning show, Magnum PI, Miller Robson.
Thank you. Dun, 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 dun. Got that theme. I'll have that theme song on my head all day today. Eat your heart out, Tom Selleck. All right, so you excited about, we've had a really nice stretch of weather, like you had mentioned. Today's going to be nice too, but you're going to start to see a change as we go along this evening through tomorrow. But let's take a live look across Billings right now. We're looking pretty good there in the Magic City. This view courtesy of the Stockman Bank weather cam. 46 at the airport, feels like 40. You can see the humidity. The dew point's kind of low this morning, but as we go along today, we're going to feel that moisture starting to come in. We'll see it as evidence of the clouds moving in, and we're going to tap into that moisture maybe as early as tonight, giving us some rain. Winds out of the southwest at about 14 miles an hour right now. Yesterday, we got up to 62, well above average. We're going to try to even beat that like a drum today. We'll try to hit 70 here in Billings. Now, we haven't had a lot of rain at all for the month of March. It started off on a very dry note, but we're going to change that. Maybe upwards of a half an inch to possibly an inch of rain could accumulate tomorrow. We could see some, definitely see some snow on the higher elevations. Down in Yellowstone, they could see a lot of snow. Right now, we're looking at temperatures mainly in the 30s and 40s. Highs today, 50s, 60s, and there go your 70s. And then the clouds are moving in from the west. They're already starting to see some rain and snow in Missoula and Kalispell right now. High today of 70 here in Billings. This is how we're going to get there. We start off in the 30s and 40s. We get into the 50s by lunchtime, 60s this afternoon. Trying to knock on the door of 70 by the time we head on home later today during the drive at 5. That's something that should make you smile, or maybe it's something that'll make you laugh thinking about this wonderful weather today.
Yeah, I was laughing at my daughter yesterday. Our dog lost one of her first puppy teeth, and so she had this whole story of how the tooth fairy was going to come to the house, and then that Dad was going to wake up and be like, "Who are you?" And she had a whole drawn out thing, and that she was going to run out and say, "Dad, it's okay, it's the tooth fairy." And so yes, so we'll see what the outcome of that was when the tooth fairy came to get the tooth last night.
Kids are so adorable.
Yes.
Boy, we're so lucky to be parents, aren't we? Hey, I took this question to my Facebook page, meteorologist Miller Robson, if you want to look for that. Is there something that always makes you laugh? Chalet says animal antics. She loves her animals when they do funny things. Vicky says her dog always makes her laugh. Tim actually sent us a joke. You ready for this?
Sure.
All right, this is Tim's joke. What do you call a pig that does karate?
What?
A pork chop.
I like it. That's a cute one.
Good job, Tim.
Good appropriate morning show joke. Yes.
Good job.
All right, Miller, thank you for that. I will get on to the news. We begin in the courtroom this morning as the evidence against accused murderer Diego Hernandez adds up. Prosecutors presented the phone records of Hernandez and victim Lori Bray as evidence on Thursday. Detectives tracked Bray back to the Cedar Ridge Casino. The night surveillance footage captured her leaving with Hernandez to give him a ride home. Her phone also sent a signal from his home that night. A list of her phone records dating back a year before her murder shows she had no contact with Hernandez via text or phone calls. Data collected from Hernandez's phone didn't give detectives any useful information. They believe his cell phone was no longer in service the night Bray was killed. The trial enters day 5 today. The Montana man who pleaded guilty to killing 2 people and badly injuring 2 others, including Montana Highway Patrol Trooper Wade Palmer, has been found fit to proceed to sentencing. It's been just over 2 years since Jonathan Birch went on that shooting rampage in Missoula, but due to questions over his mental fitness, he has yet to be sentenced. Birch has been in the Warm Springs State Mental Hospital for months now after his father said his son is autistic and didn't know what he was doing when he pleaded guilty. However, a judge confirmed on Thursday that he is fit for sentencing after evaluations took place at Warm Springs. Sentencing is set for May 24th. Montana and Wyoming are among 21 states suing President Joe Biden for rescinding the Keystone XL pipeline permit. Attorneys General filed a complaint stating the president exceeded his authority, and although Congress set rules, the president and senior members of his administration defied those rules. Montana Attorney General Austin Knudsen issued a statement saying the power to regulate foreign and interstate commerce belongs to Congress not the president. Knutson also says there is not even a perceived environmental benefit to Biden's actions. The president's executive order states the pipeline would not serve the national interest, and the U.S. should prioritize the development of a clean energy economy, which will in turn create good jobs. According to CBS News, the president's order left hundreds of workers unemployed, and TC Energy estimates nearly 1,000 employees have been laid off. Wyoming's death penalty is here to stay after a bill to repeal it died. It failed to gain passage in the Senate in a 11-19 vote on Thursday. Wyoming conservatives concerned about the death penalty said last week both chambers passed budget legislation that will cut the public defender's office death penalty representation. Today's vote to keep the death penalty paired with that budget risks a constitutional crisis. We have the death penalty, a failed government program that risks innocent lives, but no means to provide the right to an adequate defense as defined by our Constitution. The group says it believes that it is just a matter of time before the policy is revisited. A bill is in the works that could shape the future of recreational and medical marijuana in Montana. The 250-page bill appropriates about $14 million over the next 2 years to run marijuana regulation. Growing marijuana at home would be banned for everyone except registered medical marijuana card holders. And the medical marijuana system would be moved from the Department of Public Health and Human Services to the Montana Department of Revenue. Most of the tax revenue from marijuana sales will go to addiction and mental health services and the state general fund. The bill also reserves marijuana licenses for Montana's tribes. While the bill is only in the earliest earliest stages of the drafting process, as MTN's Jonathan Ambarian reports, there are already concerns about some of the changes it can bring.
The text for the major marijuana reform bill is still going through edits, but Republican Representative Mike Hopkins of Missoula says the main goal of the bill won't change: creating a more controlled, responsible start for recreational marijuana sales.
Do it in the right way so that people feel like their vote at the ballot box was respected, and do it in a way that makes sure that we don't have any repeats of 2004 when we started out with our medical program. And now we got a great medical program, but the original iteration, I don't think the people of Montana really appreciated the green buses running everywhere.
Hopkins is carrying the bill, which Governor Greg Gianforte's administration and the Montana Department of Revenue also had input on. The proposed draft would amend most aspects of Initiative 190. Pepper Peterson of the Montana Cannabis Guild was one of the leaders of the legalization campaign. He says they're most concerned about proposed restrictions on marijuana businesses, like requiring local governments to opt in to having them.
We expect that there's still going to be some opportunity for change that comes up with the bill. And, we're going to be asking folks to come to the Capitol or, get on Skype and make comments about this legislation as it moves forward and look for some positive amendments that could make it more workable.
In the original initiative, around half of the tax revenue from recreational sales would have gone to public lands programs, particularly to conserving wildlife habitat. But Hopkins' bill would redirect much of that funding to substance abuse treatment, as Gianforte has called for. On Thursday, several conservation groups gathered at the state capitol, urging lawmakers to preserve the public lands funding.
Last fall, we all lined up and said, we're all for access. We're all for this additional conservation funding. Now, this is a chance for legislators to step up and show it.
Hopkins said voter initiatives can't bind the legislature on how to spend money. He said there will be other opportunities to fund those priorities.
Even though we might not deal with it quite as directly through the recreational marijuana bill, obviously we have about 1,500 other pieces of legislation working their way through.
Marijuana is likely to be one of the biggest issues of the second half of the legislative session, and several more large bills could still be in the drafting process. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
And meanwhile, a pair of controversial bills surrounding transgender athletes and youth have advanced to the Senate floor. The bills advanced on straight party line votes in the Senate Judiciary Committee, with Republicans in favor. Democrats on the committee blasted both bills, calling them discriminatory and bad for business because they advertise Montana as an unwelcoming state. House Bill 112 says student athletes in Montana must participate on school sports teams based on their sex at birth. The second bill would ban any surgical or medical procedures for gender transition for anyone younger than 18. Democratic Senator Diane Sands of Missoula called the latter bill one of the most hateful, heinous bills this session has ever considered. A constitutional amendment to ban all abortions in the state has advanced. All 67 House Republicans voted for the measure on Thursday, and 33 Democrats opposed it. The amendment bestows the full rights of personhood to humans at any stage of development, including a fertilized egg. But the likelihood of the measure getting on the 2022 ballot is slim. It needs the support of 100 members of the legislature, and Republicans would need at least 2 Democrats in the Senate to support it. Opponents say the measure violates privacy rights. Supporters likened abortion to the Holocaust and murder during Thursday's debate.
How long are we going to remain silent and afraid to speak up and act with a unified voice that life is fundamentally sacred? That the unborn are alive and that are persons and that their abortion is murder. How long, O Lord? How long?
The bill faces a final House vote before going to the Senate. And turning now to the latest on the pandemic, President Biden says today his administration will reach its goal of giving 100 million COVID vaccines in its first 100 days. That's some 6 weeks ahead of schedule, but that victory is tempered as more than a dozen states have seen recent surges in new COVID cases. Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris will visit the CDC headquarters in Georgia today. And thousands more Montanans will increase the shot count as more vaccine appointments open up. Yellowstone County has 2,300 first-dose vaccines ready for a clinic next week. Anyone who falls within the first 3 groups is eligible. The appointments will take place at Metro Park Cedar Hall Wednesday through Friday. You can make your appointment by calling 651-6596 or visiting readyclinic.org. The state will expand vaccine eligibility to all Montanans ages 16 and older on April 1st, so next week's clinic does not include this newest group. And a quick programming note: with March Madness basketball taking over the airwaves, it's going to change up how we deliver the news. You'll be able to find today's live noon and 5:30 newscasts on our smart TV app. If you don't have it already, just search for Q2 from your TV's search bar.